just magically fix themselves now that Faker's back in the mid lane. So will be very telling, I think. This first game, we're all going to be looking kind of really closely at how things go.
This isn't StarCraft. You can't play everyone and control everyone at the same time.
Yeah.
So
unless you're Barrel.
Yeah. Bans coming out. Obviously moved on to a new patch as well, so we'll be excited to see if we get any of the newly buffed champions. LeBlanc still a staple ban. The shift changes not doing enough to cut that one out. And we'll see what we end up. Still got Rel open and available, which has been a really high priority. Kai'Sa as well has been an early first pick. Renekton, Poppy. Azir would be pretty good for Faker on his return. Actually, he's somewhat known for that champion, I would say.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. I do like the Nico ban.
Oh.
And first pick, Aatrox. Okay.
This is what
This is T1's read.
To see, I think Aatrox is super broken, but Quantum Freak's happy to answer with Renekton and Rel. And this is the sort of top lane matchup you want, you know, Renekton against Aatrox, both top laners just going in. That is what you'd really like to see. But I think Aatrox will be such a monster if he is not kept down in this one. And obviously the Rel can be flexed into the jungle, so Quantum Freak's got a lot of options here.
Yeah.
T1 could lean into a Kai'Sa pickup, could lean into an Azir pickup, a lot of options in this situation. Looking towards a Jace, this might suggest a Maokai jungle pickup to pair with it. It's a really common pairing that we have seen. When one is taken, it's often the other as well.
Yeah. There are actually a lot of AP things, champs that are beginning to pop their heads up. You know, the Lilia with the Rod of Ages and Overheal builds coming in as well. But yes, it will be the Maokai that does come in. Totally forgoing the Kai'Sa priority here in this one so far.
Yeah, we got the Shiv changes. I'm not sure how much that is going to do to really hit it, because you can still, you know, auto the Shiv and then Q and clear up the way pretty effectively. Obviously, the lower health the minions are, the more damage your Q does with the execute. So it's looking like Quantum Freaks are still pretty fine with the Kai'Sa, and they will lock that one in. So a lot of dive threat from Quantum Freaks, and T1, I feel like the Jace Maokai adaptation was like, okay, you have these short range picks, you want to go in, you want to go hard, so we're going to pick like a long range poke champion mid and a very defensive jungler. So there's very much a difference between the styles of how these teams are going to team fight.
Yeah, I feel like any team in Korea, LCK or Challengers or otherwise, if Jace Maokai are available and they don't see any stronger picks, they will pick it together. And we have seen this a lot. As Braum is going to get banned, so no chance for the engaged Braum from Keria.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah.
But obviously it's clear that Quantum Freaks are recognizing, hey, you know, they are trying to play this more defensive style composition. Let's try and limit their pools. Alistair could be a decent ban as well. Obviously great at playing Bouncer and a good matchup in the Rel. We'll see what they go for in this situation. They're actually going to go for Xayah, which, I mean, fits the theme of that sort of defensive play.
And Guma's a fantastic Xayah. I think it's also a good shout. It does mean that probably Keria plays Alistair for free. Unless you want to pick it up and play Kai'Sa Alistair, which can be a little bit dicey, but then you get both Rel and Alistair and you deny it away.
Yeah, I feel like they'll probably just save support till 5. You know, you already know the enemy mid pick, so take mid on 4, and then on 5 you can ensure counter pick. So if they take Alistair, assume it's the Rel, you can flex the jungle, make it a little bit more uncomfortable. Azir going to be banned. Doesn't really fit with Quantum Freak's comp, but still just a super powerful champion. And to be honest, Azir kind of just does it all. The fact he can dive in as well makes him pretty potent.
Well.
You know,
okay.
Do you see that one pick and the 0% win rate? Do you know who did pick it before and has that 0% win rate?
It's this guy, actually.
It's this guy.
It's Bulldog, yeah.
He's like, look, it didn't work before, but they buffed the ultimate, so...
Yeah, and he was playing it into a very old counter matchup into Azir, which is banned, and already we know that Faker's playing Jace, almost definitely, unless he's going to play mid Aatrox. We'll have to wait and see what he does play into the Xerath. Zeri popping her head up a lot more nowadays, and that's going to be the pick here. Was considering the Lucian, maybe try to go for a stronger lane, but instead it's just Zeri Rakan.
Yeah, and I feel like Gumayusi, he's had some moments where he was unwilling to pick the Zeri. I think a big example was spring playoffs, where they were just banning it consistently and not leading on it. He has picked up a couple of times this season, but I think the pick makes sense here. Gives you a lot of fall through in those longer fights, and Quantum Freaks are opting to go for the Kai'Sa and Nautilus, a really strong duo, put that Rel in the jungle, so a lot of lockdown. And, you know, as much as Xerath is very much a sit-back, play defensive champion. His ult gains so much power on this patch. The way it works now is you get more shots than you used to, and also every subsequent shot you hit, if you hit a target, increases the damage of the next.
If you hit a target.
If you hit a target.
That thing is so hard to hit.
look how much lockdown there is on Quandon Freak. Yeah. All they have to do is everyone dives in, you know, Handle presses R on Gumayusi, and then when he's knocked up, you just pressure R like 3 times in a row really fast.
Yeah.
That should be the plan.
You know, if we're in the training tool, maybe that's, you know, something potentially you can do. But I don't think it's going to work out quite that well. But yes, they do have a lot of lockdown, and maybe the Xerath will work. And you are kind of trying to match the Jace with just longer range in the lane, which is going to be interesting.
I will say, I'm glad for Quandon Freak's sake that Ghost was nerfed. Could you imagine like Zeri with Ghost channeling over the whole fight, and you're trying to hit a single skill shot when she's at like Mach 11? Not ideal.
Yeah, this is Bull Mom, by the way. Bulldog's mom. That's yeah. Her ID is Bull Mom. And she's here and all the time, always cheering on Bulldog and the boys.
Yep, and he's bringing out the Xerath today, making it a little bit spicy. Attempt number 2 to make the pick work.
Yeah.
Best of luck. You know, I'm sure it'll be interesting.
It definitely will. This is a very fun first game we have. Faker is back, Bulldog's back on Xerath, and we are ready for a new patch. Let's jump out of the rip for game number 1. I feel like there was one person that was, you know, trying to make up for the little bit of a deficit, you know.
Maybe the Bull Mom?
Maybe it was. Maybe it was Bull Mom.
You know, rarely we get to appreciate Xerath skins. Because rarely we get to see them, but that is like the astronaut one looks pretty cool.
Astronaut Xerath?
It looked like an astronaut sort of skin. Is that a skin? I'm going to be honest, I don't sort of keep tabs on skin releases, and I haven't seen Xerath in a while. So.
I mean, there's the Astro line. I mean, there's Astronautilus. We got the Maokai one.
Yeah, look, he has like a little helmet thing.
Yeah.
It does look like it, right?
I guess it is. We got the confirmation from, I believe, G-Sun, saying that, yeah, Astronaut Xerath. Didn't know it was a thing until today.
And now you know, and you can watch Bulldog pop off and then be like, wow, that's pretty cool. I can use that skin too.
Yeah.
Or he'll go
Could
to
happen.
6 and you'll be like, oh, never mind.
I'm willing to wait and see. I think, especially in the game he played against the Xerath, was a little bit of struggle street because either he was way too far away or he was in Emperor Divide Read, which you need to be in between those, absolutely. You need to be like kind of in range to ult and then follow up with some long range nukes, or, you know, not in melee range.
And I think there are a couple of things that happened over the season that have helped Xerath. Like we saw Lost Chapter now 1,100 gold, which obviously once you get that, you can just basically wave clear infinitely. And also the change to, you know, the mid waves syncing with the side waves means that roaming's less of a thing, and Xerath hates roaming. He just wants to sit mid. At most, he walks a little bit and then presses ult. So I think those things definitely a little bit helpful. And yeah, this matchup, very Renekton favored historically.
Yeah.
And I feel like the buffs that we saw Aatrox get, a lot of them were with like AD scalings and also damage to minions that increases with levels. So likely going to see the benefit of the buffs only really come in later in the game. So
yeah.
Expect Duda to have the edge early.
Absolutely. I mean, if you guys watched Challengers, you would have seen us cast the first game of Aatrox on this patch in Korea, and it kind of got boomed by a Renekton. Lane did get a lot of jungle attention, but especially early on, you can struggle a bit into this matchup, so we'll have to see if Zeus can pilot this one well enough to get to a late game stage where we can see the Aatrox big buffs. Now, they are big buffs, but we need to kind of get to that place where we can see them be a thing.
I think it helps when Dudu takes a tower hit just to balance it out a little bit. Also on the receiving end of some rough trades. So I think Zeus is doing pretty fine so far with how it's been going, but expectation is you are going to struggle. You can see he's already fallen down in terms of farm. about 5 behind.
Yeah, a little bit. Always, you know, obviously with Faker making his way back in here, want to check in and see how he's doing. We saw a lot of Jace from Poby.
And what a matchup to test your return, where you have to like dodge like constant skill shots.
Yeah.
Just really making sure it's like,
what did Bulldog mean by this? Is he like trying to put the pressure on? I don't think so, but yeah, it's funny you do mention it. Because not the easiest one. Zero's support is quite popular in Korean solo queue, as the hook is going to land here onto Keria, but he is recon.
Ooh, that minion blocking the W. Definitely helping the trade, but realistically, I mean, I feel like it's difficult to find too much pressure here unless a mistake happens from T1. And really, it's going to come down to Youngjae. If Youngjae can make an impact on the lanes, because I think once you start layering that extra level of CC, that's where you really have kill pressure. But the Zarya Rakan, both so mobile, so hard to pin down.
Ooh, really nice double knockup does come in here as Root goes in onto Keria. Tons of damage already done into Taeyun.
Yeah, and
he's sitting on some biscuits.
Andel's hook was blocked there. Oh, dude. You're not supposed to take the tower hits.
He's really trying to put on that pressure, Ox. Really wants to win this lane, as now we got a gank coming in as Guma's going forward. Always has the wall to dash away from. Keria, though, doesn't really have a friend to dash towards, as it will be just Keria losing his flash. Nice gank down on the bottom side, but Taeyun did have to use his as well.
Yeah, and honestly, Taeyun's flash being burnt is a bit rough. Like, I think he just over-tunneled on the kill and thought he could get the angle there, but still a solid gank from Youngjae, and hopefully we get the opportunity to see that returned on and punish that lack of flash, but otherwise, you've kind of just traded 1-for-1 in terms of summoners.
Yeah, kind of a good idea, but the execution not quite there. Something we've seen many times from some of our weaker teams here in the LCK. Top lane seems to be going fine. Plated Steel Camps picked up early for Zeus. Iron Spike Whip for Dudu, who's trying to rush into the Gore Drinker, and then almost definitely Sterix, which did get buffed, as now big trades again in the top side, but yeah, Zeus is handling it just fine.
Yeah, he's holding up. That's all he really needs to do. Bulldog now has access to his ultimate, so I think if any skirmishes break out in the river, that's kind of the concern, is that like if you layer the CC of Youngjae, Andal, and then the ult on top, very quick just to blow someone up. So I think T1 need to be a little bit careful about that, especially since, you know, even Keria on the Rakan without flash is very squishy.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that one goes. Kind of used to seeing Guma on the Xayah. He's been playing quite a lot nowadays, but not Zyrakan this time around, so even less safety. As mid lane, just a farm fest so far. Kind of what you can expect. I mean, especially, you know, Murktrid's picked up here first for Faker. You want those tier 2 boots to dodge a lot of the skill shots, but also a lot of tenacity for just look at the enemy team. So Faker just wants that. And obviously with lethality Jace, you don't need like attack speed or anything like that. So just the right pickup here. Lost Chapter, as you mentioned, a bit cheaper, is picked up here for Bulldog.
Yeah, and it looks like we're getting Shiv coming out from Gumayusi still. It'd be interesting to see which champions are like adopting the Shiv and which are gonna like move over to Kraken Slayer. And whether like the Kai'Sa will still remain on like the AP build or transition a bit more to AD. I think here, soon it's gonna be Kraken for Taeyun. We'll see like the Navori come out second, which has been a pretty strong build, and obviously that flexibility is a big reason why she has been so powerful.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if he still went for kind of the Shiv AP build, just because it is so strong. Even with you know, the Shiv changes, especially you get huge amounts of poke. You already have a Xerath, but then you're kind of indexing a bit more into the AP, so it takes a little bit of the power away from the Xerath. So I could definitely see both sides. We'll see where he does go in, as Dudu, speaking of which, is going into this fight. Zeus in a little bit of trouble, does go for the World Ender, still holding on to the flash, and he will have to use it here towards the end of the tree.
Yeah, and Dudu playing that really well, getting the initial dash and just staying right on top of Zeus, where you can't really benefit from any of the sweet spots or create distance. Now, T1 starting up this Hextech Dragon, but with Quantum Freak's jungle on the top side, should be able to get it pretty uncontested, and it'll just be a trade of objectives on the opposite side of the map.
Top lane, a little bit of an issue at the moment. Already a plate going the way of Dudu, and he was taking an aggressive trade there and gets the win on that one. Young Jay gets the Rift Herald, as you mentioned. So definitely see a world where you could look to drop it in bot, try to get the Kai'Sa even farther ahead and try to push the Zeri away, or you could just try to double down on the top lane lead that you already have.
Yeah, I think honestly, that would make a lot of sense to me. I mean, I think mid tower could also be a good one, but I guess we'll just see how it plays out. But
going on in, but Andal is here, and Faker extremely fast
with the fancy feet.
Yeah, he does have phase rush and tier 2 boots, so he just runs in. He's like, oh, okay, now I'm running out.
How broken is movement speed?
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's a pretty good stat. Yeah,
especially to like skill shot champions. Can't complain. Yeah, I think... Oh, Dudu looking again for heavy trade.
Yeah, the root gonna miss as well. It hits the Q3, but Dudu still ambling forward. Here is Oner gonna flash onto the right side of this one. Is Dudu in a bit of trouble, but a very nice Magnet Storm trying to save his top laner. Is Young Jay with the flash. Easily comes in. Oner picks up first blood. And now Young Jay is just on the run. He's not gonna be able to get away from this root either, as pretty tanky with the bombies, but still the advance comes in, and that is a kill given over to the Aatrox.
And perfect timing for Oner to turn up. No ult from Dudu meant that he was super low in HP, couldn't pop that ultimate for the extra health and go back in. And the damage from the sweet spots from Zeus is just disgusting. And that's the thing, you hold them in place with the Maokai, you hit the sweet spot, and it was just doing a ridiculous amount.
Yeah, and it immediately, like in one play, shores up any issues you had in the top lane.
Yeah, I think Zeus will be fine now. And flash here to try and get towards his jungler. But Oner actually saves the root here, gets the lockdown, and then that sweet spot there just doing so much. And Young Jay as well, looks like he's going to be able to get out. But we get the final root coming through. And again, this Aatrox, he has like 3 longswords. That's all he has. He's doing so much damage.
Well, he's got more than that now. He has, what, a total of 5 built into various different items. And, yeah, I mean, again, like, this Aatrox now is in such a wonderful spot. Is going to be going into the Duskblade, no doubt, and having a nice amount of fun with this one. But let's see. We do have the Leandry's picked up for Bulldog, so he's picked up his first item very early on as well.
Yeah, also going for the early blue trinket, which can help when setting up your ultimate. But I think Quandam Freaks really need this Herald to do a lot, because they're not going to have the most proactive mid. As much as they have proactive tools and the rest of it, like moving Bulldog around is going to be really hard. So I think having impact with Heralds will make a big difference, and the fact that you've lost your entire lead on the top lane isn't going to feel good. We have Dragon in a minute 45 as well. Maybe they could throw it down mid for the Dragon spawn, try and push T1 away. I think especially because with the Maokai, with the Demonic Embrace, T1 getting set up on an objective is going to make it really hard to force them out.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an issue, as here it is, Rift Herald's in mid. We do have the Drake in a minute and a half, so not exactly the timing for that, but
I guess it's probably close to time now as well. Drake and Herald will take it at the same time, right?
So Rel is going to get full gold for the plate.
Yeah, but Young Jay is building Sunfire, so kind of based?
Based on what?
Based on building Sunfire.
Oh, okay. I see. I didn't get it. Thank you, Ox.
No problem.
Young Jay, I feel for him. He's trying to, be very proactive with this Rel, and it does have so much gank potential going in now. He's got the Xerath as well. Look at that extra damage coming in from the ult, and it takes 3 people, but they take out the Aatrox pretty easily there. No flash, the World Ender just burned through.
Yeah, that's a strategy. Just CC them and let Xerath spam R on top of them. It's a 2-step plan, and it's that simple. They made it work. I feel like Quandam Freaks took a bit of time to really get plays going, but nice that they've given a bit of additional help over to Dudu there. And we saw Zeus actually build a clip and go, no, I want the Duskblade. That's the correct option.
Good choice. Good choice. So
yeah, he just doesn't get to do much.
Yeah. Just 100 to 0.
I will say, just the damage he's doing with these Qs, it's really something else. I feel like we're gonna have a moment where in a team fight, it's like the the Shy screenshot against G2.
Yeah.
We're gonna get a moment like that at some point, where he just like one-shots 3 people from Quantum Freak single-handedly, and T1 are really heavily committed to this dragon. Quantum Freak's just not interested in contesting it, and we actually see Zeus go for a bit of a proxy farm to deny Dudu's push there.
Yeah, and you know why they're not contesting it? Because instead of one silly Infernal Drake, they won 4 Cloud Drakes.
Oh, true.
They heard, they know, oh, movement speed OP.
Yep.
We need that extra movement speed. The Cloud Drake's going to be stacked up here.
Imagine 4 Cloud Drakes, you're trying to hit a Shock Blast, and they can just like, they can
dodge it with
run out of the way, start emoting, run back in front, and out of the way again. Like, that's how much time they'd have with all that movement speed.
Absolutely. Well, we do have the Shiv picked up here from Guma. Team did go for the Kraken Slayer, so it looks like we will be seeing that 80 focus build from him. The old Kai'Sa story, and especially when you have a Xerath, like someone who just does upfront huge amounts of AP damage, you don't necessarily need more. So,
yeah,
I think the AP Kai'Sa is really strong. Not going to like to do it.
Just because Dudu's like the only AD on the team apart from Taeyu, and I guess maybe that's the thought process in this one. But I think the AD build's still really fine. And then the Shiv, I mean, we covered it. It was covered at the start of the show by the space, but the wave clears, I think that was nerfed, actually got a buff on the attack speed. So
yeah,
still a decent item.
Oner just gonna elect to flash into this one, and to be honest, I mean, what we saw on the top wave, top lane rather, onto Zeus, maybe a good idea.
Yeah, good call, especially with the Nautilus ult on him. Like, I think he actually went like flashed out of vision, so it didn't follow through. But if that had connected, he'd been locked down with the Xerath firing on top. Wouldn't have been a fun time, I think is a safe statement.
Well, I do have to say, it hasn't been a lot of action, but T1 have looked pretty comfortable, it feels like, with Faker back in here. We haven't had a real team fight just yet, so not ready to make a full judgment now, but let's see how this one is going to go. As we do have the teleport coming in here from Faker. We do have Quantum Freak trying to make a stand here, but again, this Maokai ultimate is just so strong. The stun goes in on a Faker. Now he's going to be caught up. 2 members in the front line there by the Rel, but the damage follow-up is not there. As Taeyun, Arzin of 5 people gets the kill. And now Zeus says, hey, look at me. I'm Aatrox. I'm back here in the first map here. As he is doing so much, Youngjae is going to be taken out as well. The Aatrox and the Zeri just do way too much in this first fight.
And it was actually such a beautiful catch onto Faker for Quantum Freaks, and he ends up going down, but so much is committed to make him go down. So many ultimates, Taeyun ulting in, have to burn both summoners to get away on a sliver of HP, and I just feel like Quantum Freaks, maybe with the return on Faker, focused a bit too much on him instead of the fight itself, and funneling into the Aatrox, not a great plan here. We see Andal actually gets like a beautiful grab here. It looked like Keria is going to block, but doesn't reach it in time. But like so much is burned here. And then Taeyun, this was just the wrong play. It was agreed for the kill, but you end up losing your entire health bar, and the rest of your team just gets decimated by this Aatrox who, Aatrox with resets is great, but with Duskblade as well, it's the double whammy.
No, it's a problem. And fans here very, very happy. Things are going quite well for T1 here in the beginning of this game. It isn't the end of the world, as now we get a little bit of an angle here. Oner without flash, but not going to find it.
I do want to hone in a little bit on the people who got kills. So notably, it's the super broken Aatrox and the Zeri.
So is this a Xerox moment?
Maybe. It might just be.
Yeah. Yeah. A little bit of an issue, right?
Just a bit.
We do have 3-1 and 3 now for Zeus. We do have a 201 CS, 2-0 and 2 quick blades finished at 18 minutes, Zeri.
Yeah.
He doesn't have flash though. That's
something.
Yeah.
And there's a dragon coming up in 50, so maybe Quantum Freak's like, right, they don't have flash. Let's get this Cloud Dragon and get towards the 4 Cloud Dragon Cloud Soul goal. Wink on.
Yeah. I'm not sure if they're even going to have a chance to do that, but we do have Quantum Freaks set up in the bottom river. And, again, they still do have immense lockdown. We've seen many times, somebody's very fed and they just get locked down 100-0 and they die, and all of that gold just goes away. So you still have to be careful about how you will engage onto this one as T1.
I think as well, like, they can play a bit with the Xerath, the poke, get some damage down. And if someone is low, like, they don't need to commit so heavily to finish them off, right? Play for the fight, don't just play for the kills.
Well, in terms of poke, it does look like Taeyun has taken the brunt of it here in the beginning of this, as he is barely going to avoid that accelerated Chonk Blast. So there you go, second Rift Herald. This is the power of it. It allows you many times to pick up this third Dree.
And a big problem is if T1 get on the objective like they are now.
Andal, you're not allowed to be there. Okay. Blast Cone, thankfully, is going to save us from any action. I hate action.
Oh, yeah.
Really bad, yeah.
Quantum Freaks, I don't think you can fight this. They're going to give it a go. Faker's getting... Oh, yeah, boy. It's over. You can't. Leave, 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 leave.
Gets a huge cheer from the crowd. This Faker's doing damage. And, yeah, they're just going to leave. Definitely the right call here.
Okay, Andal definitely shouldn't be here.
Yeah, he doesn't have a Blast Cone in that lane. He's just going to hook away and get to safety. So
now they're trying to defend the turret. They have a lot of wave clear with the Xerath. Yeah.
What do they mean by this?
That's what I was just thinking. I'm not sure, you know. I feel like it's generally speaking my job to interpret.
It kind of looks like Keria had like a invisible barrier around him. Like everything was getting blocked, you know?
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah, I mean, the Dragon going over T1 means pretty close to having that potential soul. So Quantum Freaks won't have too much time, really, to scale up. And they're already 4,000 gold down, so in a bit of a rough position. We've seen the Aatrox pick up a Black Cleaver. He's very strong. It's concerning. I think the problem is, right, T1 put the Herald down mid. Oh, they're looking for Faker here.
Yeah, this is...
Welcome back.
Faker, he is going to be... Welcome back. It's a lot of R damage, and he's nearly taken out entirely by that. But we do have the follow-up from T1 trying to save him as Bulldog will not go down, actually. Lives just barely under that turret. Well, we spoke too early as Guma just going to... never mind. He's going to hit him with the backside of that W, it looks like.
That looked weird.
And now Andal is going to go down. So Dudu, meanwhile, had teleported to the bottom lane, and Taeyun was mid the entire time.
Yeah, make the call. You know what? We don't even want Baron. Let's just go bot, get a tower, mid, get a tower.
Baron Schmaron!
You know, I think that's an exact quote of what he would have said in comms. And at least they're trading something for that play, but still a devastating hit towards Quantum Freak's chances in this game, with T1 getting that fight and the Baron. And you know, they look for the pick on a Faker, but it just takes too long. Andal has kind of been off this game with those dredge lines. I think waits a little bit too long. Faker survives a bit, but realistically it's this flank coming in onto Bulldog, who just gets chunked immediately. And then, what damage do you have left in this fight? You have 2 tanks.
Take a look at this. What is that hitbox?
Yeah, that
like came out of the wall. What?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? I feel like Bulldogs did such a good job of avoiding everything, and then he just got zeried.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's coded that Zeri will get kills. So regardless of hitbox, it will happen, they say. And Gumas will enjoy a 3rd kill.
Bulldog went with Rylai's? Is that the build?
Well,
I feel like personally I'd want a more damage item, like maybe either Shadow Flame or Void Staff in this situation. You know, I think if I look at your composition and think, what is this team lacking? It's not crowd control. it's definitely not crowd control.
Yeah, no. Well, speaking of which, they are just going to try to burst down Faker here. Gets incredibly low as the Xerath ultimate will be layered, but not quite hitting the target somehow. Oner gets back in there. Youngjae in a bit of trouble, and Aatrox is here, and he will take over this game whether you like it or not, as will the Zeri, as they just shred through everybody. T1 way too far ahead. That is the ace, and it might just be the game at this point. With the Baron buff, they're going to try to push into this bottom lane.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the game plan of Quantum Freaks is kill Faker, and then they achieve that goal, and they're like, okay, where do we go from here? They didn't think they'd get this far, and T1, the rest of the team, just absolutely decimate them in return.
Yeah, and
that's what they can do.
I think some close health bars, but or death timers rather, they're still going to go for it. We got a TP in here, 23.5 minutes, and with Baron buff, T1 have enough to push into the base and take game one in dominating fashion.